राम राम भाई लोग, क्या हाल चाल है? गुड टू बी विथ यू अगेन एंड इट्स वेरी गुड टू सी कि
डोलंड सिंह न्यूयॉर्कर वाले और एम्परर ऑफ ईरान आयतुल्ला आर्य जहर
अरे जहर
हरिओम।
मैं इट्स वेरी फनी टू मी कि इंडिया का कुशल इतना इन्फ्लुएंस हो गया है पूरी दुनिया में, यू नो, between 350 BC and around 1600, India was kind of the center of the world in many ways. And it seems like that is happening again because Donald Trump, the most powerful man in the world, seems to be very inspired by Sushant Sareen as well. I don't think I've ever noticed a sitting president of any country, let alone the United States, go full Sushant Sareen in a video ever before. So I don't know if people know what has happened. आपके पास वो वीडियो है? I think I have that video. I think I have that video somewhere.
है मेरे
हाँ,
पास।
ये रहा. This is it.
डीएम करते।
DM कर रहा हूँ मैं आपको, Twitter पे DM कर रहा हूँ. So basically what happened, there's no way we can start anywhere but here, because basically what happened is ट्रम्प को ना वो वाली बीमारी हो रखी है, वो जो लड़कियों को होती है ना बॉलीवुड में, जब वो फूल ले लेते हैं, वो फूल लेके बोलते हैं ही लव्स मी नॉट, ही लव्स मी. तो एक दिन ट्रम्प बोलता है मैं मार दूंगा ईरान को, दूसरे दिन बोलता है सीज फायर चाहिए, तीसरे दिन बोलता है मार दूंगा, चौथे दिन बोलता है सीज फायर चाहिए. तो अभी उनका चौथा दिन चल रहा है जहां पे उनको सीज फायर कर रखा है. बट अपेरेंटली इजराइल वाज कंफ्यूज कि भाई चाहते क्या हो तुम, करे या ना करे. सो इजराइल बॉम्ब्ड ईरान एंड देन दिस इज व्हाट ट्रम्प हैड टू से.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
देखो यार, इसको प्रेसिडेंट यार देख. I have never been
President Sushant
a
Sareen.
fan of this guy. I have never been a fan of this guy. अभिजीत है इसका fan. I thought this whole art of the deal, 3D chess making, like I never. He's just a blabbermouth who says things. और वो कुछ भी बोलता रहता है. He is like that uncle in your society who predicts 500 scenarios and one of them comes true.
हाँ.
He's that uncle in the society.
Yeah, exactly. और उसके बाद he starts branding himself as Jyotish. I am Jyotish Sanjay Nigam ji, whatever.
America has ever had.
Huh?
Period. I think he's the greatest president America has ever had, and I think he's international global president.
I mean, he is the thing about Trump is that he's such a reality star that he's turned America into a reality show. That's the brilliance of Trump, that he's brought reality television to the federal government. I think that's one of the most enjoyable things that he's done, that every single day is like watching an episode of like Big Brother or Survivor or The Apprentice. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. You can't look away. It's a fucking car crash, So
But
it
it's
is
not a car
very
crash.
reality
That's the
TV.
beauty of it. It's not a car crash. That's the fun thing. See, had he not been in
car
power,
crash.
Biden would have never let him bomb the Iranian nuclear facilities, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, he would have also stopped Israel.
Hmm.
So this is fun. And it's not. It's actually doing great good.
ये मैं भी यही सोच रहा था, ये कुशल खोमेनी की तरह क्यों कपड़े पहने हुए.
I'm dressed for the occasion.
मैं भी यही सोच रहा था, why the fuck does he look like Khomeini?
I am dressed for the occasion. I am representing our allies in Iran.
In Iran.
Iran.
So what is trying to decode Trump is a bit of a challenge, because people will say, and I've heard this argument, that his funda is actually very clear. He just wants Iran's nuclear program to be completely destroyed, and that's all he's interested in. Other than that, he's not interested in regime change. He's not interested in overthrowing the Ayatollah. That's not what he's interested in. He just wants to get rid of the Iranian nuclear program. Okay, I understand that. But my follow-up question to that would be, does this ensure in any significant way that the Iranians will stop? What stops them from rebuilding?
Look, they're not going to be allowed to rebuild because you need a lot of know-how to rebuild. when the scientists are dead, when the support staff are dead, when the human brain power behind it is dead, what can you rebuild? Okay, number one. Number two, this is not over yet, because Kolang Mountain, which is the mountain extension of Natanz, has not been hit. That is where all the 60% enriched uranium was stored. That's not been touched. So it's going to be much tougher, but I don't think this is the last chapter in this story.
Do you think that's why the Israelis want to keep hitting Iran? Because they know that the big targets have not yet been eliminated.
So it's very curious. The Americans could have taken out Kolang, but they didn't. Why? We don't
Why?
know.
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I don't know either. A comment खोलना?
Comment खुला नहीं है क्या?
नहीं.
खोल देना यार कुशल.
So we don't know. And this is something I didn't realize. Hamara Amit Shandilia hai na, he pointed it out to me. And then I checked, and I'm sure enough, Kolang hadn't been hit at all. One entrance to something was hit, but other than that, nothing.
So then, if the goal is to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, but you haven't dismantled the Iranian nuclear program, but you're now calling for a ceasefire.
You've dismantled the program, but the most important part of that program, which was the Kohang Mountain, which is the 60% enriched uranium, has not been taken out. So the raw material is still there. Now, Bibi yesterday said something very curious. He said he had some very interesting intelligence about the 60% enriched uranium, but we haven't heard about it since then, and nobody is highlighting it.
Right. So that's what makes me kind of think about this, right? Because you had North Korea, that the world didn't want to get the nuclear bomb, but they didn't overthrow the regime, and ultimately the regime was able to acquire it. Similarly with Israel, the world didn't want Israel to have the nuclear bomb, but they were able to, finagle their way into one as well. And with the Iranians as well, unless you topple the Ayatollah and you put a regime there that is completely pliant to the Americans and the Western countries, and they say, no, pinky promise, no nuclear program. How do you stop them? I mean, yeah, you killed a few of their scientists, but it's a country of 90 million. They'll make more scientists.
See, it's not like they can make them anymore, because you need to then go back to international institutes and get all the things and stuff. And they've stopped cooperation. They passed this law stopping cooperation with the IAEA. So understand, they're completely cut out in a way they weren't before. Kaise karoge? And see, the problem now is if they start rebuilding anything, it'll get bombed immediately. See, it's different when there's a whole infrastructure build up and you have to bomb everything.
Right.
But when nothing is left and you have to start building again, it's very easy to bomb. And the Iranians now know, because their entire air force was taken out on the first day. There was no air-to-air encounter in this entire thing. Did you notice? Not one air-to-air encounter.
Yeah.
And all the air defense artillery failed. They managed to just take down 2 drones. In 10 days, they took out 2 drones. And total 4 drones lost. One was shot down by the Americans because they mistook it. One, the Israelis brought it down because it malfunctioned. And 2, the Iranians took down. And the Iranians didn't even know where to look for the drone the Americans shot down. And they didn't even know where the drone that the Israelis claimed to have brought down themselves was.
How happy do you think the Israelis are with this? Because they don't seem happy.
Right now, pretty damn happy.
Really?
They're very happy right now.
With the ceasefire, with the current ceasefire.
Even with the current ceasefire, they're pretty damn happy.
What the purpose? So you feel like the purpose that Netanyahu had with these strikes has been achieved, according to him?
100%.
Okay.
Except I don't understand Kohang. That is
Does,
one
does
thing
it does it benefit the US in any way to have that standing?
not really, but I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the calculus is. Let's put it this way. Nobody seems to have a rational explanation for the calculus, for leaving the 60% enriched uranium untouched.
And when you said you don't believe this is the last step, why do you say that?
Because countries that are cornered like Iran has been, usually, and their military is taken out so comprehensively, they double down on terrorism. They don't reduce terrorism. I expect a lot of airliners to start getting bombed.
Airliners?
Yeah. Because when they've lost their proxies aren't allowed to come out and help them. You know, the new Lebanese president, who's a kind of quasi Hezbollah guy, Hezbollah had basically barred elections from happening in Lebanon. No? The elections were vastly delayed. But because their numbers were so badly depleted, they lost Syria, and the rest of the parties, the Sunni parties and things at the power, then they said, we're holding elections. They held the elections. One guy, Sunni guy now, who's fairly close to Hezbollah has become, but he told them very, very clearly that you will not enter this war. The Houthis tried, they lost their leadership. And what could they realistically do? Nothing much. Houthis out, Lebanon out, Syria out, Iraq refusing to get involved. Your entire security redundancy, quadruple redundancy collapsed. And the Israelis came, destroyed your air force, destroyed all your air marshals in one room on the first day of the war. They've destroyed your air force. Your air force today is non-existent. Bacha kya hai tumhara?
But you still believe, I remember you saying this last week on the last show, that you still believe that despite being humiliated like this, the regime will soldier on. They're not going to collapse.
Let me tell you what Pezeshkian has said. This Pezeshkian mentality is also the Pezeshkian. One second, let me just get what he said. It is the it is Pakistan's mentality. देखो मेरा कच्चा उतार दिया पर मेरा बनियान अभी भी बचा है, ठीक है ना? एक second, let me tell you what he's just said. President Pezeshkian says Israel's plan has failed. The Zionist regime wanted to stir unrest amongst the Iranians and topple the government, but failed in its aggression. Iran stands unbroken.
Wow.
I wish many more such moral victories on Iran.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like, I don't know who said this, but then they said this, that even if, it was something like that, that Pakistan's mentality is that even if you like screw Pakistan will turn around and say, humne tumko nanga dekh liya. Something like that. But that's basically the same mentality.
You know what I find interesting in every single commentary when other two nations are fighting is, so let's say India and Pakistan is fighting, Iran will be like, shanti rakhni chahiye, ladai mat kiya karo. Iran and Israel are fighting, India is like, shanti rakhni chahiye, ladai mat kiya karo. अबे सालो तुम तो लड़ रहे थे अभी थोड़ी देर पहले, अभी दूसरे को बोल रहे हो लड़ा नहीं, साले सब तो लड़ते हो. क्या है ये? रशिया बोले कड़ी निंदा करता हूं मैं.
कड़ी निंदा, please de-escalate. Yeah. एक टाइम पे एक लड़ाई guys, please, एक टाइम पे एक लड़ाई only.
और ट्रम्प ट्रम्प का सुबह से एक पोस्ट में नोबेल प्राइज इतनी बार किसने लिखा नहीं होगा
भाई कुछ चाहिए
जितना ट्रम्प ने लिखा होगा. भिखारी है ना, भिखारी भी इससे
मेरे को
कम
नहीं दोगे तो मैं बम मार दूंगा. ये दिस इज द मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग वे ऑफ अप्लाइंग फॉर अ नोबेल पीस प्राइज. इफ यू डोंट
start a
गिव मी
war.
द नोबेल पीस प्राइज आई विल फकिंग बॉम्ब
Start a
एवरीथिंग.
war, end the war, and demand the Nobel Prize.
This is 4D chess. I have to say this is
ये
4D
लाइन
chess.
देखो, हम भी शांति से
हम
लड़
भी
रहे हैं.
नहीं लेते यार. क्यों रुकवा दिया फालतू में?
अरे करते क्या है
Oh,
यार. कोई और मतलब दे हैव मेड अ मॉकरी ऑफ ऑल ऑफ दिस. एक डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प को कोई कोई सीरियसली नहीं ले सकता. डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प को, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प की जितनी
Trump
इज्जत
is
का
the
फर्जी था.
Ambiremo from Aparijit. Seriously, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
ट्रम्प को कोई सीरियसली नहीं ले सकता. आई एम सॉरी, कोई वो उसका कोई जीनियस प्लान नहीं है जो ट्रम्प सपोर्टर्स क्लेम करते हैं. मेरे को कोई रैशनली नहीं एक्सप्लेन कर सकता इसको कि ट्रम्प का कोई जीनियस प्लान है. लड़ा मेरा उसका जीनियस प्लान है. कुछ भी चालू है, कुछ भी बकवास करता
He is
रहता
a
है.
genuine genius.
लड़ा मेरा
तुम
ही
तुम लोग
सच
सब जलते हो.
Dude, he's a genuine genius because people don't understand how rich he is gonna be with that. I just think he's made some very smart financial decisions in the last 4 or 5 years, which at least financially this man is a genius. I have to at least say that much. Okay, his
पाकिस्तान का
family
सोच,
is set for at least the next 10 generations.
पाकिस्तान का सोच. वो आसिम मुनीर उसके साथ खाना खा के जाता है, उसको ये नहीं मालूम क्यों अगले दिन ईरान को बॉम्ब करने वाला है. क्या
एक
है?
बिरयानी पे बिक जाता है यार. ये क्या देश है भैंचो. one biryani is all it takes
Seriously
to
यार,
sell
मेरे
that country.
समझ के बाहर है. क्या हो
But-
रहा है मेरे समझ के बाहर है.
But Abhijit, just to follow up to that, let's say the conflict ends, let's say there's a ceasefire and the Iranians have been humiliated and severely weakened. So like you said, their proxies are also powerless at this point, or they're not willing to participate in what Iran wants to do. In that scenario, do you see a positive externality for India in the sense that the IMEC can then start, work on IMEC can then start in earnest without Iranian interference?
Yeah.
So that's a positive thing for India because that objectively
I
the
think-
IMEC is a good thing for India.
IMEC will start when the Gaza campaign ends.
Okay.
That's important. And there has to be normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel,
Hmm.
which will happen once Gaza ends, I suspect.
Do the Israelis have a time frame in mind?
They're looking at this from 4 or 5 year period, but they're trying to
Holy
fast
shit.
track it now. No, Gaza to end is they suspect they'll able to be they'll be able to start the reconstruction in about 6 to 8 months,
Hmm.
but they just want to know what the plan is. The Emiratis have lined up,
Hmm.
but they need to find somebody brutal enough to, de-indoctrinate the Hamas indoctrination
In Gaza.
in Gaza.
Okay. But that is obviously a much longer term project. Like, okay, we've obliterated Hamas, but de-radicalizing a population. I mean, it's possible, obviously, but it's a much longer term project, right?
It's a very long-term project, and see, they're probably going to get some kind of a puppet ruler.
Hmm.
The problem, is we've seen key puppet rulers as a rule, unless they deliver, they won't. It doesn't work.
Hmm.
And the problem with puppet rulers who deliver is they start getting cocky. They start believing that they're delivering, and they get ahead of themselves very quickly.
Yeah. And then they'll have to lean into that sort of whatever nationalism or Islamic nationalism for legitimacy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but are the Israelis willing to at least start work on the IMEC once the military campaign is over, not
Look,
the actual?
they were super this thing about IMEC,
Hmm.
stoked about IMEC. They were very clear that it's IMEC will start, then Saudi Arabia will automatically recognize. Okay. Now it's turned the entire equation on the head, because it is now, it can't really start till the Saudis recognize.
But remember, Trump was in Saudi maybe like a month ago, where he brought this exact thing up. And he was talking about the Abraham Accords and how successful they have been. And he was
But the
asking the
Saudis
Saudis
can't
to
do
get
it.
on
At
board.
least he may turn something around. He's very good at turning things around. But it's, as of now, the belief is that it can't happen without the Saudis formally recognizing. At any rate, it can't happen till the Gaza campaign stops.
Interesting. And Kushal, मेरे को funny हमेशा ये लगता है ना, जब भी मैं सुनता हूँ, whenever a section of the commentary around Iran and Israel and America, especially in India or talking about India, has been कि India की देखिए foreign policy बिल्कुल fail हो गई है, because the Pakistanis were invited to White House to eat biryani because they had to sell their ass for a plate of biryani. And that means that, for all the howdy Modi that Modi did with Trump, for all the mera to bhai hai Trump, for all the bhai aap Ahmedabad mein aiye aapke saath rally karenge, for all of that was for naught. And India achieved absolutely zilch from all of that stuff, that drama that Modi did. And ultimately their foreign policy failed, and ultimately Trump went back to the Pakistanis, and now Trump and the Pakistanis are best friends. What do you make of that argument? Because obviously all three of us have probably seen some version of that argument on social media.
The thing is, Pakistan's geopolitical location, geography, is too important in the eyes of the Western establishment overall. And Pakistan knows that very well, and it is going to exploit it till the end of time. The West let them have a nuclear weapon simply because they did not want Pakistan to be overpowered by the Indians. That is point number one. As far as India is concerned, India also has to go on having its relationships with people who the West doesn't like, shamelessly. This is the only way out. आप अपना उल्लू सीधा करो, वो अपना उल्लू सीधा करेंगे. जिधर आपका कॉमन ग्राउंड है, आप कॉमन ग्राउंड करो. इसमें मेरे को फॉरेन पॉलिसी शुड नॉट बी विद इमोशन. फॉरेन पॉलिसी शुड बी मारना नहीं चाहिए, और फिर ऐसे फोड़ दे माथे छुट को, फोड़ दे. ऐसी ही होती है फॉरेन पॉलिसी. Like, you speak off the record. I'll give you the Canadian example. You speak off the record with so many Canadian people in the system who don't have the guts to talk against the Khalistanis in public. Off the record, अगर उनको recording उनकी कोई निकाल के दे दे, क्या गालियां देते हैं तबीयत की खालिस्तानियों को, क्या गालियां देते हैं. तो ऐसे ही है, सब ऐसे ही है. देखो भैया, दुनिया ऐसी ही है. अमेरिका का जब तक उल्लू in the eye, we are not claiming whether it's right or wrong or good or bad or all of that. What we are trying to discuss is, in the eyes of the Americans, Pakistan has a certain value to it. And until that value remains in the eyes of the Americans, this is how it's going to be. What India should do is, India should try to leverage its economic power, its military power, for its own benefit to the best of its ability. Does India do it? I don't think so. I think India needs to have much more indigenous defense spending now, and let's see what happens in the future. Just look at the June numbers of oil imports, by the way. 60% of Indian oil came from Russia and America. Russia and America. अमेरिका से हमने बहुत ऑयल खरीदना शुरू कर दिया है फिर से. तो ये सब चीजें साइड में चुपचाप चलती रहती हैं. इंडिया और अमेरिका की ट्रेड डील 100% होगी. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो नहीं होने वाली, पक्का होगी. और कनाडा इंडिया का भी रिश्ता सुधर रहा है धीरे धीरे करके. ये सब चलता रहेगा. पाकिस्तान इज एन इरिटेंट. इंडिया की पॉलिसी पाकिस्तान के साथ एक ही होनी चाहिए. उन्होंने उंगली की, हम उनको बम मार देंगे, बस. यही करते रहो. वो एक ही भाषा समझते हैं. मतलब वो कोई भी भाषा नहीं समझते, मगर ये भाषा बेनिफिशियल है हमारे लिए. उनको बम मार दो जब भी वो बकवास करे, बस. और कुछ नहीं कर सकते तुम. ये मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, बाकी किसको जितने भी मेंटल जिम्नास्टिक्स करने करो,
I
मेरा
mean, it
फॉरेन
makes
पॉलिसी
sense,
का
right?
हमेशा
If
एक
you
ही
if
रूल
you
रहा है.
look at where India is in its stage of development, it sort of makes sense because it seems like India is where China used to be in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And at that time, China wasn't walking around like fighting people ki tumne aisa kyun kar diya hamare sath, tumne waisa kyun kar diya hamare sath. They just had their head down. They were working on their own development. Ki bhai, we're not at a place where we can dictate terms to the rest of the world. But now they are, and so they are dictating terms to the rest of the world. And I feel like India, keep your head down, keep working till you are, like you Kushal said, till you are at that $10 trillion mark, and then you are in a position to dictate terms to the world in a very large way. And I do think the government, the current administration, in some way has done it very well. Like they've signed that free trade agreement with the UK. They've signed that FTA with Australia. They're working on trade deals with France. You said another one with the United States will most likely happen.
this year.
काम चल रहा है. They're keeping their head down, and the administration is working. The people might be acting reacting very emotionally to everything that the Americans do, or everything that the Iranians do, or everything that the Pakistanis do. But I don't see that sort of an emotional reaction from the administration. I don't know if you agree with that statement.
Indian administration,
The
I don't know what.
administration is not reacting emotionally.
The administration will never react emotionally. Governments tend to have a much more balanced approach to these things. See, always remember, governments tend to know 20 to 100 times more than what you do. You are dependent on the government to tell you what the other countries are saying. So your analysis is always post hoc based on what the government and the media has decided to share with you. Beyond that, you don't know anything. No matter how many briefings the government gives, you don't know what the intelligence apparatus knows, right? As an average person, so you don't know what really happens. Like, do you know what really happened between Carney and Narendra Modi in Kanaskas resort? Nobody knows what really happened.
Exactly.
We can only go by press statements. We can assume हाँ ऐसा कुछ हुआ होगा, ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है. And then whatever has happened after that, for example, like in Ireland, look at what has happened. So 20 members, I think 25 members from the Canadian contingent this time went to Ireland. Normally they don't go. इस बार गए थे. RCMP के, I can tell you through my sources, RCMP के काफी members गए थे आयरलैंड में. बॉब रे को भेजा गया था आयरलैंड में. इंडिया ने 7 सिख रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स को भेजा है आयरलैंड में.
आयरलैंड में?
हाँ, वहीं पे तो
That's
भेजा है.
where the memorial service was held, ना?
हाँ.
Oh.
तो और यहाँ पे
So the Canadians did send a contingent for it then after all.
Yes. No, not only that. यहाँ पे जो कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी खालिस्तानी शब्द उनको क्या होता था मालूम नहीं होता था. जब भी तुम कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी और कनाडा के एमपीज को खालिस्तान की बात करते थे तो उनका रिप्लाई तो एक ही होता था, अब्बा डब्बा जब्बा, अब्बा डब्बा जब्बा, अब्बा डब्बा जब्बा. अभी 2 कंजर्वेटिव एमपी ने कल एक दिन में 24 घंटे के अंदर खालिस्तान वर्ड यूज कर दिया.
Condemning खालिस्तान
वर्ड यूज किया, अपनी स्पीच में यूज किया है.
ओके.
मलेसा लैंड्समैन और शुभलॉय मुजुमदार ने. ये सडनली चेंज क्यों हो गया? मतलब बेसिकली कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी वाज वेटिंग फॉर द लॉर्ड फ्रॉम लिबरल्स. कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी का भी कुछ ओरिजिनल थिंकिंग तो दे नेवर डू एनी ओरिजिनल थिंकिंग. They wait for liberal party to normalize things. Then once the liberal says now you can bark about it, you bark.
No, you bark about it. Kamal hai sara.
This is the reality. Is
this what Canada is? Is this what Canadian conservatives are?
The liberals are the baseline. Boss,
Achha.
Liberals control everything. Liberals control the media. Liberals control the narrative. Liberals control everything in Canada. Everything. Mark my words. Mark Carney decided Khalistan bad. Mark Carney, the individual, decided Khalistan bad. Everything has changed.
Wow. It's
now what if another prime minister comes and says Khalistan good? ये सब undo हो जाएगा. ये सब undo हो जाएगा. This is how things are. I'm sorry to break it this way and paint a very depressing story, but this is, and Indian foreign policy has to learn from this. India cannot have a foreign policy which it goes on face value.
Exactly.
India's mistake, and Abhijit will 100% back me because Abhijit has also seen this, what I am seeing. India tends to go by the goodness of people. Actually में इंडियन फॉरेन पॉलिसी इज बेस्ड ऑन दैट. वो इंडिया कैसा है, वो एक कल्चर है जहां पे जबान की कीमत होती है, समझ रहा है. हमारे कल्चर में होता है ना कि अरे ही हैज गिवन मी हिज वर्ड. आई वुड देख, अमेरिका एक कंट्री है ना, जो वो बोलने वाली है ना उसका उल्टा होगा, ये रूल होना चाहिए. क्योंकि अमेरिका जब भी बात करती है ना कि मैं ये कर रहा हूं, उनकी उंगली ऐसे होती है. So I don't buy anything. India should be brutally selfish in its foreign policy. My grouse with India is neither is India ambitious to be an economic superpower, military superpower, nor is India selfish enough in its foreign policy. These are my grouses.
You know, Israel's trade with China used to be worth 12% of their total trade. It is now down to, guess how much?
5?
How much?
1%.
Wow.
All high tech, all manufacturing, every single one of them was told by the Israeli government to come to India. Every single one.
Wow.
I have a question for you, Abhijit.
That was totally something like close to about $500 billion worth of business that would have been generated. And guess who stopped it? The bubbles.
Government of India.
Wow. Why did they stop it? What was the what could be the
You
reason?
know, the companies are like, boss, we can't deal with this bureaucracy. In China, it's one window corruption. You pay one person, everything gets done.
Yeah.
Here, everybody wants something, and when they don't get something, everybody tries to poke their finger in. All I've been hearing for the last 3 days is horror stories from Israeli companies that have wanted to invest here, and they haven't been. And you know, it's हमारी नाम इतनी बिगड़ी हुई है Israel में. They're warning other people not to invest in India now.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Abhijit, मेरा question ये था, would you say one of our most fair weather friends has been Israel and Taiwan combined?
Total.
Imagine this is what we do to our fair weather friends, Israel and Taiwan.
Best friend के साथ ये हालत कर रखी है.
Look, let's be clear about one thing. Taiwan, not so much. Let's not forget Taiwan bombed an Air India plane that was carrying delegates to the Bandung conference. Taiwan was very hostile to India for a long time. That has changed a lot. But there's very little they can provide us in terms of military equipment because they don't have that equipment. See, they're not as advanced as Israel is in terms of military equipment. They still have to import a lot of it. Their DRDO is worse than our DRDO. Believe it or not. There's something actually first world that's worse than India.
Some sense of pride.
Oh God, you sit and listen to the Taiwanese. They're like, listen, your DRDO is nothing compared to us. It becomes a mutual bitching competition. That said, Israel has backed us every single time. तो उनके लिए कर क्या रहे हो? Not that you have to do something, but actually, they're extremely grateful to India right now कि verbally at least जो करना था किया और militarily जो भी हमने मांगा तुमसे 155 mm shells and shit like that, you supplied it to us. Chap se we supplied them with bombs and shells. We didn't make a halla gulla. That is why that question was asked in Parliament. And what did Jaishankar stand up and said? Yes, they've supplied us. We will supply them.
Yeah.
And he said it very unapologetically.
Very good. Good on Jaishankar ji.
Also understand, you've never had an Indian PMO make such strong pro-Israel remarks like Modi did on Twitter after the 7th October attacks. But guess who diluted it? The MEA. There is a fundamental trust deficit happening between the MEA and Israel. Let's see what happens. The problem again with the MEA is you have a lot of these JNU types there who've been indoctrinated in a certain version of things, etc., and there's nothing much you can do about it because they're in the system. But even your own self-interest, I mean, forget Israeli self-interest. Is Israeli high-tech, high-value manufacturing coming into India a good thing or not? Very simple answer, yes.
Yes, it is.
Total market value of those products. And you know why they want to do it? They want to do it in China and then to India, because then they can sell to all the Arab countries and things like that. It doesn't have the Make in Israel label and things. So even though the value of the investment may be about $100 billion, the net value of the profits that can be made is close to about $500 billion.
Hmm.
Not coming to India. They were told specifically by their government it needs to go to India, and now even their government's given up.
Wow.
Whose fault is that?
So two, three things I want to add over here. I share the pessimism on the MEA with Abhijit, but there is a ray of hope. When see the way my life is structured, because I travel so much and you go to these conferences, you give talks outside India, you end up meeting a lot of people. Even this time, my experience at the G7, where I was at Kananaskis too with a small contingent of our media. Not everyone from our media went to Kananaskis. What I have seen is, while yes, the old lot of the MEA is exactly what Abhijit has saying, but there is hope with the new lot. The new lot is much more dynamic, much more pragmatic, and they are slowly but surely trying to leverage a lot of things. And they are also re-understanding. They you know, kind of changing their worldview,
Hmm.
and I think this is good. I think it is good. Even the MEA can change. I think the MEA can change. MEA will change,
Hmm.
and some of the things that the MEA is kind of trying to do, there is hope. My biggest fear is the old lot ambassadors, not all, many,
Hmm.
that are trying to, I don't know when they retire.
Hmm.
I'm just waiting for them to retire. Because यार मैंने
Let
जो
me
कनाडा में एक्सपीरियंस किया
let
ना,
me
वो बहुत
burst
डिप्रेसिंग
this
है.
bubble. I know some of the most brilliant people I know are in the MEA, both older and younger.
Hmm.
Okay, one of the most brilliant people I know, period, not just MEA people, is our High Commissioner to London, Vikram Doraiswamy. Okay, do you know the kind of shit they talk about him behind his back? He's too smart by half. The number of enemies he has within the MEA, insane.
Hmm.
They're all out to get him for something or the other. And the issue is, there may be individually brilliant people out there, but the overall culture is one of celebrating and promoting mediocrity.
Hmm.
And the celebration and promotion of mediocrity requires that all those that you promote under you remain mediocrity, who hang on to your every word and project you as the next great thing after sliced bread.
Hmm.
What do you do? So, this is not going to change. Change seldom happens organically, it is almost always forced down from the top. I
Right.
don't think the top understands that we have a very severe problem out here. If it did,
Hmm.
you would not have such a minuscule MEA. You need an MEA at least 3 to 5 times the current size.
Hmm.
You would not have an MEA where it is only your one UPSC exam that determines your entire career path. You would have through career training, through career assessment, and promotion based on through career assessment. You essentially have the foreign minister go on Raj Shamani show and lie outright and say, no, we've expanded the foreign service. Diddly squat.
They haven't.
They haven't. He went and
Hmm.
lied on that program. Shamefaced lie, where he was counting all the secondary staff, the visa staff, and things like that. By the way, some of the second so-called tier B officers
Hmm.
are some of the most brilliant officers you'll actually find. Pata hai?
That's
But
right.
they're almost treated they are treated like Dalits are in a conservative village. They're
Wow.
not really IFS. They look down upon.
Wow. So, in the last decade or so, people can, I think you can make a good case that there have been some big foreign policy wins in the sense of developing a good relationship with countries like the UAE, Saudi, at the same time maintaining a close relationship with Israel, maintaining close ties with Russia, that even during the Russia-Iran war and all those sanctions, India was able to escape sanctions and still import a lot of Russian oil, maintaining at least till the the involvement of Trump in the so-called ceasefire ki bhai maine credit le liya. Before that, there was a strong relationship, at least with
You're
Trump.
breaking up. You're
Abhi
breaking up.
आवाज आ रही है?
Yeah, I could hear him.
Okay. So
मेरे side
those
breakup हो रहा है
those foreign policy wins.
अरे चूतिया, इंटरनेट से ऑफ हो जाओ.
इसका 4 से ज्यादा डिवाइस आती है तो इंटरनेट बंद हो जाता है. भाई कौन से गांव का इंटरनेट है यार दिल्ली में?
वो दूर गांव में जो बस्ती थी ना उसका
हाँ
internet.
उसी का इंटरनेट है.
सुधर जा.
So what do you credit those quote unquote wins to? The leaps that the Indian government has taken in foreign policy or in developing good relationships or maintaining good relationships. What do you credit those to?
Modi.
Modi specifically. Usme, you don't think the infrastructure had a hand?
He understands very, very well what to do. He makes it see the thing is, why do you build personal relationships with business contacts? Because then the pain point of saying no becomes much higher personally. He just goes and embraces you, he smothers you. You then can't say no to him. And notice he's kept his personal feelings out of it completely.
Yep.
These are all the same countries. I remember till 2014, the country that was most vitriolic about Modi in Delhi. It was not America, it was not Germany, it was not Turkey, it was not Pakistan, it was France.
Interesting.
Yes. And look how the relationship is today. America could have been a close number 2, even though it was a Congress mandated thing, US Congress mandated thing. Has he ever brought that to the table? He kept all his personal feelings aside. There is no American president who he doesn't charm the pants off.
As you should. I mean, that's kind of the point of foreign policy, right? Keep personal feelings out of it.
The diplomat of the country is the prime minister or the president if you're a presidential republic.
Right.
He's very good at it. I think the issue is that a very, very good diplomat is being let down by the fact that his support staff are simply not up to picking up their game. They are all more interested in become ambassador to something or the other to allow an expansion. Understand, if you expand the foreign service to 3 to 5 times that is required, only 1 in 3 people will become ambassador. They will never allow that.
Interesting. चलो फिर कुशल मिमी करें and then we'll take the questions जो आए हुए हैं.
Yeah. पहले मीम रिव्यू के पहले the Sham Sharma show Reddit page is back up again. Sham इसके बारे में बता दे सबको, because I
so
don't
basically
understand.
हमारे Reddit को report कर दिया गया था by certain individuals and उसको उड़वा दिया गया था. So we've created a fresh Reddit page. This is the one, Sham Sharma official, and this is the subreddit that I want everybody to join. इसका link description में डाला हुआ है इस video के community pages पे भी है, so you'll hopefully be able to see it. I want you guys to go join it, and I want you guys to start sending your original memes on this page, because we will be giving priority to the subreddit for taking memes for the show, for doing reaction videos on the reaction channel, for whatever you're posting on the subreddit. So we'll do a series where we do reaction videos, and we'll take हमारे जो meme review के memes आते हैं, we'll be taking mainly from the subreddit. So please make sure to go join the subreddit, make it a nice big subreddit, make it an active subreddit. I want to make sure that we're participating here, and I want to make sure that हमारे community के जो members हैं उनको shout out मिल रहा है इस podcast पे, इस meme review पे, and उनके original memes हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So if you want to be part of the show, if you want to get featured on the show, and if you want to, make this community a vibrant community, organic community, then please go join it. And फिर यहीं से शुरू करते हैं.
Okay, fine. And हाँ, one more reminder, one last reminder. देखो मित्रों, ये संडे को हमारी कॉन्फ्रेंस है टोरंटो में. टोरंटो में तो कृपा करके इधर रजिस्टर करें.
कृपा होगी.
हाँ, एकदम ऐसी वाली कृपा होगी, निर्मल बाबा वाली कृपा. क्या था, निर्मल बाबा था ना वो?
हाँ, कृपा होगी.
कृपा होगी. तो कृपा करके रजिस्टर करें. और अगर नहीं किया तो कृपा नहीं होगी, और अगर कृपा नहीं होगी तो हमारा क्या होगा? तो सारे
समोसा नहीं मिलेगा बेटा. समोसा चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए?
और सारे कनाडा वालों, यहाँ तो ये QR कोड स्कैन कर लो, यहाँ ये वाले लिंक पे जाके चले जाओ और रजिस्टर कर लो. चलो अभी मीम देखते हैं, मीमी देखते हैं अभी.
रजिस्टर करो जाके जल्दी से.
चलो,
फर्स्ट वन इज ऑडिटोरियम.
ये क्या है? ये इंडियन मीडिया ऐसा क्यों है?
आई रिमेम्बर दिस. पढ़ना जरा.
इरफान पर टॉम क्रूज मिसाइल से अटैक. यार ऐसा क्यों है हमारा यार मीडिया?
टॉम क्रूज मिसाइल मार दी यार इन्होंने.
हर फहान पे.
इस्फहान.
अच्छा, इस्फहान पे
टॉम.
हाँ, इस्फहान पर टॉम क्रूज मिसाइल ने. मैंने इरफान पढ़ लिया. मेरे को लगा फुल बॉलीवुड है.
This is the story of the next. आप लोगों को पता नहीं है. This is a spoiler. This is a story for the next Mission Impossible movie, जहाँ पे Ethan Hunt, aka Tom Cruise, will be dropped directly on Iran's nuclear facilities from an airplane. He loves to do death-defying stunts, so this is going to be his next death-defying stunt, where he's going to be dropped directly onto an Iranian nuclear facility from an airplane.
यार क्या है यार? ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है यार. This is ridiculous. How can our media be so irresponsible?
Tom Cruise.
कोई बेसिक एडिटोरियलाइजिंग में नहीं है.
तो fucking intern को दिया होगा कि इस पे कुछ लिख देना. इंटर्न को लगा कि अबे जाएगी नौकरी तो जाएगी, मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Tom Cruise लिख देता हूँ.
Next is on Sham Sharma's page of Reddit by agreeable_day_6828 titled Trump doing call to Munir. 5,000 कमाना है.
This is ये परफेक्ट अमाउंट लिखा है. इतने में ही मान गया होगा वो साला. ये this is the perfect amount. 5,000 कमाना है साला. इधर आ. 5,000 रुपया मिलेगा और फ्री की बिरयानी मिलेगी, जितना खाना है खाओ.
Actually, what we should have done is we should have simply told this is where the BJP screwed up.
Yeah.
They should have told Amit Walvia to call up all these Pakistanis and offer them 2 rupees per tweet. Wait, let me call up Amit Malviya now and tell him.
Oh fuck.
2 rupees per tweet and free biryani. Free biryani भी ऑफर करना. अच्छा यार कमाना है. अबे सही में फोन कर रहा.
हाँ, अमित को फोन कर रहा है. उठा अमित.
टीवी पे होगा. ठीक है.
राजदीप सरदेसाई को टीवी पे पेल रहा होगा अमित मालविया.
वो राजदीप को ही पेल रहा होगा. राजदीप का पैंट उतार रहा होगा.
वही रह गया ना. इंडिया टुडे में
राजदीप एंड अमित मालविया इज अ लव स्टोरी. ये किसने हैंडल है? इसमें लिखा है फ्रॉम इंस्टा. हैंडल का नाम है सुधाकर 97936401 ऑन
एक्स. ओह माय गॉड.
इतना बड़ा हैंडल. क्या है ये?
When everyone starts to bomb each other but no one incites you. इतना दुखी क्यों है गोलू यार? इतने बम मैंने रखे हुए हैं, कोई तो बुला लो यार।
मेरे से तो कोई लड़ता ही नहीं है।
इसको कोई बुलाता नहीं है क्योंकि ये साला सही में मार देगा।
ये पूरे का एक्चुअल पागल है।
ये हरामखोर सही में बम मार देगा, इसको मत बुलाओ साले को। ये पागल है।
ट्रम्प का ये तो ट्रम्प का दोस्त है ना?
है?
अच्छा, नेक्स्ट है श्याम शर्मा शो रेडिट पे, बैड मोश गुंडा, इसका नाम है बजरंगी नेतन्याहू।
बजरंगी नेतन्याहू।
भोसड़ी वालों, पंचर छापो, पंचर बनाने का काम करो। इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन में क्या हो रहा है अपनी माँ मत चुराओ। तुम ये ध्यान दो कि टायर और ट्यूब कितने का आ रहा है, ठीक है? तुम इस पे ज्यादा ध्यान दो कि टायर और ट्यूब कितने का आ रहा है, पंचर कितने में लगेगी। तुम्हारे घर के जो 22 बच्चे और 656 बीवियां हैं वो खाना कैसे खाएंगे?
कौन बनाता है यार ये ओरिजिनल डबिंग है या किसी मीम की डबिंग की है? मैं जो
पता नहीं।
बजरंगी नेतन्याहू। बजरंगी नेतन्याहू is actually a good name for बीबी नेतन्याहू। मैच भी करता है। बजरंगी नेतन्याहू, I like it. I like it.
Next is agreeable_day6828 on Sham Sharma show Reddit.
अरे फिर वही वाला आ गया यार। भाई तू सच में चला देगा? That's what I was saying कि ये हरामखोर सच में बम मार देगा, इसको मत बुलाओ।
बहुत डेंजर आदमी है।
बहुत डेंजर आदमी है यार। He's very lonely. He's looking for something fun to do. ये सही में बम चला देगा just to have a nice fun evening.
नेक्स्ट इज ये विभूति झा ने लिखा है,
क्या ये?
हम ईरान के साथ खड़े हैं, अमेरिका के साथ बैठे हैं और चाइना के साथ लेटे हैं। फील्ड मार्शल आसिम मुनीर सिपह सलार।
इसका वो वाला मीम बेस्ट था। आसिम मुनीर, सैयद आसिम मुनीर, COAS आसिम मुनीर, फील्ड मार्शल COAS आसिम मुनीर। जितने जंग ये लोग साले हारते हैं ना, उतना टाइटल इन पे ऐड हो जाता है। इनका उल्टा है, जितने जंग हारोगे उतने टाइटल ऐड होंगे आप पे।
ओह यस, ये वीडियो अभिजीत की कमेंट्री चाहिए मुझे इस वीडियो पे। Only Indian uncles can do this.
How can people do this like unironically? मेरे को समझ नहीं आता। Do you not see what's going on? Is this a joke? It's completely real.
भाई एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? I love it. And you know the best part is Indian uncles are so oblivious to the fact what they are doing, what it could be perceived.
Do they
as.
not see what it looks like? I don't understand.
No, they don't.
I don't
They are
understand.
Indian uncles.
अंकल इंडिया में अलग ही है। इंडिया में अलग ही है। रसल पीटर्स यूज्ड टू से ना कि जब मैं पहली बार इंडिया आया था, I used to see two Indian guys who are completely straight walking down the road just holding hands. So I asked them, "Are you guys gay?" He said, "No, we're not gay at all. We're just good friends." But they're just walking down the road holding hands, completely oblivious, in a completely non-sexual manner.
Yeah.
Only in India.
Only in India.
नेक्स्ट, तुम बहिन चोद एडिट बना के हमें चने के झाड़ पे चढ़ा देते हो और गांड हमारी फट जाती है।
बोल के चढ़ा देते हो यार, उसके बाद साले इजरायली पेल के चले जाते हैं।
गांड हमारी फट जाती है। ऐसा
You know his family is from Bareilly now or something, isn't it? Khomeini की
That was Khomeini, not
अच्छा।
Khamenei.
अच्छा, वो दूसरा है। ये इसका प्रेडेसेसर।
हाँ।
मैं
No
तो
relation.
प्रेडेसेसर is from
इसका
Bareilly।
देसी वर्जन।
इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ये लैंग्वेज मेक्स सेंस। लैंग्वेज मेक्स सेंस। बरेली वाले यही बोलेंगे।
हाँ, समझा। देखिए दोनों के नाम में डिफरेंस कैसे है, एक है कमीनी, एक है कमीने।
कमीने।
समझा?
साउथ दिल्ली में अगर कमीनी रहती है उसका नाम है कमीने।
हाँ।
या
अभी लास्ट वन है नेता राम याहू हिटलर व्हेन ही केम टू नो दैट एवरी कंट्री हैड वॉर इन वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 एक्सेप्ट जर्मनी। ये क्या है?
अपने कुल की मर्यादा, देश की मर्यादा का हनन करने वाले द्रोही, धिक्कार है तुम पर। अपने कुल की मर्यादा
सब लड़के मर रहे हैं तो तुम क्यों बैठे हुए कोने में?
हाँ, लड़ो सालो, मर जाओ सालो।
बेचारा जर्मनी यार।
So I think the winner are those uncles exercising.
Uncle wala is the best one यार. It's incredible. It never ceases to amaze me कि हमारे देश के अंकल लोग कितने oblivious होते हैं of things around them. It's truly an art. It's truly an art form. We could make like a BBC documentary. जैसे वो क्या नाम है उसका, डेविड एटनबरो बनाता है ना. We could make a David Attenborough style documentary on Indian uncles and just the kind of shit that they do. You know, this is the typical Indian uncle. He wakes up in the morning and the first thing that he does is he opens his phone, he goes on WhatsApp, and he sends good morning in every single WhatsApp group on his phone. This is a daily occurrence for the Indian uncle. If he doesn't do this, he might die. It's a life and death game. I wish somebody would make a meme in David Attenborough's voice, या फिर कोई AI वाला software use करो David Attenborough के voice का, and put it on the Reddit where you describe the life of an Indian uncle, a day in the life of an Indian uncle, using David Attenborough's voiceover. This is my challenge to the subreddit. नया subreddit सबने join किया है. Go on the subreddit, create an original meme. And अगर आपने एक अच्छा ओरिजिनल मीम बना के दिया तो आपका फील्ड मार्शल का अगले हफ्ते का फिक्स. सो दिस इज
अभिजीत, तूने इतनी इरिटेटिंग चीज भेजी है मेरे को ये व्हाट्सएप पे,
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, ये लगा.
इतनी इरिटेटिंग है ये. क्या है ये बकवास?
अबे लगा तो. It shows the Iranian Air Force in action.
That's the caption before you watch the video, that this is the Iranian Air Force in action before you watch the video.
रुको मैं अपलोड कर रहा हूँ वीडियो.
Is this a fucking flying carpet?
अरे आना भैंचो. इतना घटिया वीडियो.
ये
अभिजीत
वीडियो
कान फट जाए म्यूजिक से.
अभिजीत को ही ऐसी घटिया चीजें अच्छी लगती है.
मेरे को बहुत अच्छी लगी.
So let's take a few questions before we get out of here. And ये obviously बहुत common question हर जगह आया है. And I think Kushal already sort of answered this question, but I'll just put it out there. Santosh Shrikant is asking, after Iran, will Israel try to denuclearize Pakistan? I think not, just because of what Kushal also said, that for the moment, Pakistan serves a purpose to America and other Western countries. And until that purpose is served, why would you try to, weaken Pakistan? Please, can somebody answer this for me? Can we use the Indus Water Treaty to develop Venice in Bihar?
तू बिहारी है ना, तू रेजिडेंट बिहारी है, तू बता.
भैया हमारे यहाँ तो हर साल वेनिस बना करता था. वो तो उन्होंने डैम बनवा दिया है दामोदर नदी पे. तो उसके बाद से वेनिस बनना बंद हो गया है। हमारे यहाँ तो वेनिस हुआ करता था हर साल।
ये देख कितना सुंदर सा क्वेश्चन पूछा है और तूने पूछा भी नहीं।
क्या?
जहर है कि प्यार है अयातोला? तरुण ने पूछा है। वेरी
यार
गुड। एंड सी दिस बिल्लू बसंडा, CEO of Gandchod Private Limited, says Kushal is textile mafia, but Khomeini is oil mafia. Quite right. Notice Kushal and Khomeini, there are only 4-5 alphabets that separate Kushal and Khomeini. ऋषि चैटर्जी
प्यार है आयतुल्ला।
बोलता है मुनीर बदनाम हुई डोनाल्ड तेरे लिए। सो ट्रू। वेरी गुड ऋषि चैटर्जी। And Tarun again says Ayatollah Kushal Meni. Very good, Tarun. You are quite right.
Ayatollah
He's
Kushal
even
Meni
dressed.
is a good one.
All he needs is
I
a
like that
turban.
one. Ayatollah Kushal Meni, I like that one.
फिर देखो ये कमीना है कनिष्का सिंह, इसने मेरे को बहुत
Ayatollah, this is great. I really like this one.
ये कनिष्का सिंह ने बहुत गंदी गंदी सी गाली दी है मेरे को। Aim, you bring out so many facts about geopolitics and defense. We learned so much from you. You are truly like right wing का जुबैर हरामजादे। मेरे को कितनी गंदी गंदी सी माँ बाप की गाली दी है तूने। If US had Candice Owens, we have you.
Oh my God.
ये मेरे मुंह पे थूक रहा है और 5
Is he trying to call you an anti-Semite? Is that what's happening?
शॉकिंग। ये बैन करो इस कनिष्का सिंह को। विंटर हैज कम। कुशल मेहरा, फॉरेन पॉलिसी जीरो, जियोपॉलिटिक्स कामसूत्रा। हाँ
कामसूत्र full.
दीपेन दास, अभिजीत, हाउ डज इजराइल
आजकल इस पे पेट्रियन पे कामसूत्र डिस्कस हो रहा है क्या?
हाँ, दीपेन दास asks, Abhijit, this is a very good question. How does Israel control its Muslim population growth, which is 20%, and prevent their radicalization? They've actually grown quite a bit. And the radicalization is this thing. They don't have to join the military. They have all the privileges. They have all the rights without the duties. And, they do tend to riot once in a blue moon. But they all know they're better off in Israel than they are staying anywhere else. They would much rather be a citizen of Israel than Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, or anything like that. It's that comparativeness that helps. Okay. Then next, again, Billu Basonda, CEO of Gandchod Private Limited. Munir ka UK US home address docs karna padega. Very good idea. Bhai log sab karo. Vimarsh Kamboj. Understand the fact between Trump and deep state, then look at petrol dollar. I am not expert, but I believe this has dollar value. Acha, but see, the issue is the petrol hasn't gone up that much, bro. Unusually. Very surprising. I expected it to rise well over 100. The Saudis wanted it to rise well over 100. The conspiracy theory doing the rounds is when the attack was formalized during Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is apparently in deep financial shit. They need the barrel to go above 83. It has not gone over 83.
Interesting.
Or it's just barely gone over 83 and not long enough. Okay. Suyash Rajendra Tiwari, why is Doval in China? Are we signaling to America? Is Doval in China? I thought Rajnath Singh is going to China.
I have no idea.
Doval is in China. Or he met the Chinese somewhere.
Okay.
Interesting.
I don't know yet. Usually these things you only get to know about 2-3 months later. So
did you see, before you move on to the next question, Abhijit, I want to ask a follow-up to this. Did you see there was some American politician just recently, I forgot what his name was, who was talking about like delivering some sort of an economic bunker buster bill to Russia, China, and India. He used India as well.
That is this fellow, na? What's his name? He's got a girl's name. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham,
that's right. Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. Pata nahi kya hua. I mean, I don't know what the bill is, but I guess it's more bluff. Shraddha Grover asks, what is your final assessment of Munir's meeting with Trump? Given B2 are stealth, do they really need anyone's alignment on using airspace unless Pakistani bases were used for other planes? See, you always need diversion bases in case something happens. You need bases for refuelers. So in this case, and why do you need refuelers? Technically, if it was a light load, the B2 could have done it without refueling. But because each plane was carrying 2 of these, 7.5-ton bunker busters, it needed refueling throughout. So they crossed the Atlantic without refueling. But then Spain, Moron Airbase had to, I know it's called Moron, but that's the name of the airbase, had to refuel them. And then apparently out of Sauda Bay in Greece had to refuel them again, both to and fro. Okay? So, and you always need a diversion airbase. Always. It doesn't matter what, you always need a diversion airbase. I'm sure in the Israelis operating in Iran, they had already scouted out Saudi and Emirati and gotten permission for those air bases as well. Then DHA 414. Kushal told you not to simp on Trump. By the way, you are right-wing YouTuber, pseudo-analyst, Mohalle ki auntie aim. We're making it like Modi is running US world with Trump. Trump showed औकात. How does it feel? No comment. अरे बहुत comment है चुतिए.
अबे यार पूरे podcast में और हमने किया है क्या? Comment ही तो किया है. This entire podcast has been just that.
And nobody here said Trump was running the whole world. I've been saying since day one, everything that Trump did had to do with Iran. ठीक है? तो सुनता नहीं है तो मुंह का खोलता है चुतिया, और फिर $10 भी दिया, थैंक यू वेरी मच. उसी वजह से तेरे को अपनी तेरा क्वेश्चन
पैसा भी लिया,
पैसा भी दिया, तो इसके लिए
पैसा ही गाली खाने के लिए दिया है,
गाली खाने के लिए पैसा दिया इसको. It's called glutton for punishment.
He's like a BDSM aficionado and I'm the dominatrix. I've taken off his pants and whacked his ass.
ये $10 से स्पेशल हंटर खरीदेंगे हम अभिजीत के लिए.
$10 special hunter. We'll buy those nipple clamps for
you. Yeah,
him.
exactly.
Kapil G. Western weapons perform so well in Russia, Iran. Can the system of systems be a philosophy be implemented in India? Won't that be too expensive? That is what I'm saying. It is too expensive for us. Had you done it slowly, systematically over the last 23 years, yes. But when you do it in an emergency, the second thing is, weapon suppliers are like cocaine. They're like cocaine dealers. When you decide to switch from one to the other starts withholding. The pain point is very great. So, there is a question of how to go about it. You have to do it in a very subtle way over a long period of time, which we should have done, which we haven't done. So, it's going to take time. It needs a whole load of handing over of institutional knowledge. You can't have 3-year defense secretaries posted in from agriculture and, garbage processing, whatever, both ends of the Calmentary Canal.
भैया
देखिए
आप इस podcast की reach
देखिए. Thank you, Basu. Thank you, Anjan. This fellow actually looks like bloody Ismail Khani. His beard also looks like Ismail Khani.
मैं बोला ना, आप reach देखिए इस podcast की. जहाँ अमेरिका नहीं पहुंच पाता वहाँ हम पहुंच जाते हैं.
I condom Israel.
No, first let's finish subscriber questions. Hello. First, let's finish subscriber questions. Should India have long-range stealth bombers? I personally don't think so. Long-range stealth bombers are when you reach a certain level of global dominance. Your weapons procurement has to keep pace with your global footprint. America needs it because it has a global footprint. हम काय को जाके हम क्या चिले या इक्वाडोर को बॉम्ब मारेंगे क्या?
बॉम्ब करके क्या करेंगे?
So, really, who do you need to hit? Are you going to hit Turkey, which is a NATO ally? Right. No, na. You need a lot of tonnage to drop on Pakistan. For that, you've got what you really need. China, yes. So, do we need long range? Well, we need middle range, at least stealth bombers for China. But see, stealth bombers can only operate in sanitized airspace. Please remember this. A stealth bomber is a subsonic bomber which can, with modern equipment, be detected. So you can only operate in heavily sanitized airspace where they have gained air superiority. It is not something you just send in aise waise, okay? So remember that, Kapil. But you should watch a very good debate that Shivarur has done that I've retweeted between Air Marshal Anil Chopra and Angad on yesterday. I've retweeted the link. Check it on my Twitter timeline. Manav Chandana. Why PMO failed to stop Babu's being middlemen? He hasn't stopped them being middlemen. He's failed to stop them being corrupt. It's more a case that they found new ways of being corrupt. Sunyash Rajendra Tiwari, is Munir going to create a new rebel in Iran just like they did with the Soviet invasion? भाई कैसे कोई invasion तो नहीं हुआ है ना? Ground invasion होना चाहिए उसके लिए.
उसके लिए आपको group create करना पड़ेगा if there is a ground invasion.
So Nitish Kumar says, "Hi Sharma ji." He's referring to you as Sharma ji. My God,
Respect है हमारी भाई क्या बोले.
Sharma ji. My father used to trade chemical from Guangzhou between 1998 to 2006. China in 2005 was similar to India today: dirty roads, bad infrastructure. You know, Nitish, it was actually worse than India ever was at one point. Because I used to hear these horror stories in Australia when I was working in hospitality. Apparently, the first batch of travelers who were allowed to travel out of China in the 1990s, they didn't know what a toilet was for, so they literally used to shit in the corner of the room. And they had to replace all the
It
carpets.
was that bad, like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So transformation happens quickly. It's kind of
Very
wild to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sham Sharma, Reddit is a prime asset to us, says Paramwala.
Us or to US? I don't know which
To
one you
you.
mean.
I don't know, to US or us.
Bigger
Nitish Kumar,
scammers
Bigger
on
scammers on
streets.
streets, very bad trains, no bullet train. In his last trip in 2015, China changed completely. 10 years, even he was shocked. Yes, I was also quite shocked to see China. But remember, that entire Chinese rail system is a white elephant. I hope you realize that. It's
In
put
what
them
way?
$1 trillion in debt,
It's
in
what?
unrecoverable debt.
Really?
Yeah, $1 trillion in debt.
But why would they
Complete white.
why would they take on debt like that?
Well, it's state debt. It will be written off. It's just that it's an unsustainable project because $1 trillion down, it's not making back any money. See, bullet trains are fantastic for small countries like Japan, France, Germany, Italy. Huge countries like these, bullet trains do not make sense. Right?
So, but don't you think that fast long distance travel, train travel, do you think it's doesn't make sense for large countries at all? I think it makes a lot of sense
No,
for India.
it does. If you have extremely high disposable income, it does.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, in America, I think going from Washington State, so Seattle to say San Diego, would make a lot of sense having it. It is, but even there, the cost of land acquisition becomes so insane. You've seen how much the San Francisco to LA train has boomed to what, $100 billion or something like that now. No,
it's insane.
How are you going to make it back? Because the cost of land acquisition has become insane out there. Right? So there are lots of things. I mean, look, there's never a perfect solution to everything. There's all kinds of stuff that keeps happening. Shivam Rai, I read somewhere that Kim Jong-un may be visiting India next year. Highly unlikely. He doesn't tend to fly. He hates flying. Does India establish a relationship with North Korea have any value? A lot of value. We actually have a very good relationship with North Korea. They give us access. Indians, even I went to North Korea, I was given access. Nobody else was given. The main thing lies in knowing what they know about the Pakistani nuclear program. They have supplied a lot of the Pakistanis and stuff. They have a much clearer understanding of the Pakistani nuclear and missile program, and that is very, very important as far as we're concerned. So Shrikant, after Iran,
we already took this one. How bad do you? Oh,
no, wait. Kunav Putur. Should RAW go after families of Pakistani army commanders? You should never go after families. Bro. Yeah. How bad do you think is the religious demo in West Bengal? I think it's close to a Muslim majority, or very soon will be.
Majority?
Yeah.
So it's in the high 40s.
High 40s, for sure. Santosh Shrikant, education in Afghan is similar to Pakistan, Hindu hating, not at all. They don't have anything about India out there. Little to nothing about India.
What do you mean about India? Or like in the education system?
In the education system, yeah.
Interesting.
It's all about their ancestors and this and that. Armed forces key center of gravity. Kushal is textile mafia, Ayatollah is oil mafia, Ayerwal is Ganda mafia. Good boy. Surid Chakravarti. What do you think about buying submarines from the US? The US won't be selling you nuclear submarines, bro. The really good ones you can get on this is the French submarines. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Next, DHA 414.
अरे
He's
ये
paid
फिर
us
आ गया.
$100. Thank you so much. ले लो
तो
और
दिया ही
ले
जा
लो.
रहा है.
I can afford it, but फेंकना थोड़ा कम करो. Sensible
नहीं
तो
कम
बोल.
मत करो.
नहीं
Because
कम-
DHA
और
414
और $20 दे
yeah,
भोसड़ी के.
basically DHA 414 can sustain this entire podcast. फेंकते रहो.
फेंकते रहो.
फेंकते
गाली
रहो.
देके अपने काटने को कवर अप कर रहा है ट्रम्प सिंपर्स. थैंक यू.
Yeah,
Then-
इसको और फेंकते रहो so that he can keep sustaining the podcast.
बिल्कुल. AIM, are you still bullish on India US relations? Yes, I am.
And what gives you cause for that?
Because Trump is purchasable and he always changes his mind.
Yeah.
अरे एक
I
प्लेन
mean,
में बिक
that
गया
we
वो.
have seen.
आखिर भिखारी देश क्या फेंकेगा उस पे? हम ज्यादा फेंक सकते हैं
गन
ना?
दे सकता है, एयरबेस दे सकता है, और क्या दे सकता है?
और क्या दे सकता है?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, I think we were able to take all the questions. Thanks again for joining us, guys. And again, two things. If you have not joined that subreddit, please go and join the subreddit. The link is in the description of this video. It's in all the community posts as well, all the community pages of all three channels. So please go join the subreddit page and go join. Go and send us your original memes there. And वो Richard Attenborough और Indian Uncle वाला जरूर भेजना, वो भूलना नहीं. And this is the second one. Go ahead, Kushal.
स्कैन करो ये QR कोड गांडुओं और मुझे मिलो इस संडे को. अगर नहीं मिले मुझे इस संडे को और मुझे शक्ल नहीं दिखी तुम्हारी तो पाप चढ़ेगा तुमको. सबके सब जो भी हमारे GTA एरिया के लोग हो सब के सब आने चाहिए इधर, नहीं तो गांड मराओ.
Yeah.
और ये देखो, I just discovered that Hajmola has different flavors. Did you know that? These are my two current favorite flavors. Mr. Aam
I knew the left one. I knew the
and Anardana.
Mr. Aam I did not remember. I have never seen Mr. Aam.
हाँ.
I seen
ये-
Anardana.
I prefer the Mr. Aam to the Anardana, by the way. Huh?
I never liked the Anardana. I should try the Mr. Aam because I've never seen that before.
The
Must be a
Mr.
new
Aam is very
flavor. Oh, must be a new flavor then.
good.
We'll have to try.
Yes.
So do you like it more than the original Hajmola?
Yeah.
Or is that the best one? Oh, you like it more
No,
than the
I
original?
think I like Mr. Aam more than the original.
Wow. अब
Yeah.
तो try करना ही पड़ेगा यार. I'll have to see. There's an Indian grocery store near where I live, so I'll have to go see if they have it. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday. I know we shifted the days for the foreseeable future, but I appreciate that आपने उतने ही enthusiasm से हमको Tuesday को भी गालियाँ दी है जितने enthusiasm से आप Thursday को देते हो. So I appreciate it. And if you hate the show, and if you really want to express how much you hate the show, please send us super chat because
Yes.
that's how we know that you hate the show. If you really
Exactly.
want us to read it and feel bad, make sure you send us at least a $20 to $30 to $50 super chat. That's how we get to know that you hate the show. Okay,
And guaranteed,
guaranteed.
if you pay $50 and abuse us, we will read your abuses out in the most loving fashion.
In
on
the
the
most
show.
loving manner, yeah. Maybe we'll play some background music too. I can get some royalty-free background music. We'll play the background music, and then we'll read your super chat very nicely. So make sure it's $50 and above if you want to abuse us, if you want to tell us how wrong we are and how horrible we are, and we'll play some nice, soothing, some music, and then we'll read it over that. Chalo. So now that you know, फिर हम निकलते हैं. तब तक के लिए ध्यान रखो. Take care. We'll catch you in the next one. And to all of you, Jai Shri Ram.